Hey guys, this is Curious. You know, I've been over at the Ramsey Paul video arguing with people on the freaking I've been arguing with the people on the comment section, and one thing that's been repeatedly brought up is this simple statement that why can't white people or our people or people have self-determination and a homeland just like Israel does for the Jewish people. Now, on the surface, that sounds good. I think it sounds good. I mean, why not? It's good for thee, but not for me? Why? Well, I kind of like multi-ethnic, so that's no problem to me. But some people, it's like, why do we have to have all these things? But you start breaking it down into what actually that would entail in a real life scenario. And I don't want to demonize it because I am a civic nationalist. I hate using the term nationalist, but I don't know. A liberal nationalist. I don't know. I can't find anything that fits it better. But I'm running into all these friggin' race nationalists or white supremacists, you know. And it's like, but they can't give a straight answer. They can't say, well, we don't know about this and this and that, and it doesn't matter, we'll figure it out. No. I'm not a social progressive, regressive, or a regressive social liberal, and that I argue against cultural Marxism. But at the same time, let's be real. I don't agree with the archetype of the majority-minority paradigm when it comes to race. But yet, to keep it real, in the past, we've had Jim Crow law, we've had the antebellum South, segregation, we've had several people, both black and white, and other, argue for separatism. During the Civil War and with Texas, you know, there was talk of secession, kind of like the Brexit, said believe in the Union. And there's several neo-Nazi and white supremacist organizations that advocate for, you guessed it, a self-determined homeland. This is a bunch of friggin' dog whistling. Now, if you can accept that there's Marxists in a society, then you can accept the fact that they're always going to demonize anything that's anti-immigration, self-determination, or anything but the multicultural zeitgeist. The whole critical theory, cultural Marxist, postmodernist garbage. But what does it mean to step away from that? And critically, what would that society look like for real? We've already seen the nightmare stories of the past. Well, it's hard once you kind of set yourself against socialism, at least socialism, democratic socialism, that you start going into this weird, dangerous territory of, oh, well, that's cultural Marxist, and that's cultural Marxist, and fuck it all, round them up and friggin' put them in camps. You're Nazi! Congratulations! You're a Klan man and a Nazi. Yes, you are. You're David Duke. Or you're friggin' him and your friggin' bets and not enjoying, but probably enjoying, but involved or enrolled with American Renaissance and people like Jared Taylor, Yeah, sure. There's no frigging race inequality there. Yeah, right. Anyway, it's kind of bad when you watch a Jared Taylor video and you start nodding along and then you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Oh, I've gone too far. But really, I'm trying to get at is all you have to simply ask to get any semblance of balance and perspective is, how would this look in real life? Okay, Montana is supposed to be the highest group per million. I think like 7.6 per million. 7.6 hate, whatever the fuck hate is. But then again, you start leading the list of some of these motherfuckers, and it's like, oh, you're a fascist, you want to be a fascist, you're a fascist. And the latest thing now is to go, oh, no, that's the no true Scotsman. That's just the friggin' Illuminati, the globalists, the Zionists, circles around. It's the Jew didn't. Oh, no, you're not supposed to say that. But that's just fake Nazis to discredit you. And it's hard not to believe that because so much of our society is just programmed. I don't want to go Alex Jones or what's his name? Something Watson. Joseph Paul Watson. I don't want to go InfoWars. But damn, man, it does seem like we're being controlled. And you know what the control is, I think? I think the control is people not only trying to be elitist on both sides of the political spectrum, but trying to keep the motherfucking country together. It's a shitstorm. It's a shit show. The country and the world is basically falling apart. And if America collapses, all fuck hell will fucking hit the world. The world society might survive. But with oil depletion and wild weather, climate change, whatever, we're getting pressures for these cracks to freaking widen. And then you get despotism, city-states, warring factions, and in a world that has nuclear weapons, that's not too good. I don't want to live in the Thundar the Barbarian world. Or freaking Judge Dredd. But then, you have to look at this and say, okay, something's got to give also, because multiculturalism and this idea that we can always be progressive and always move forward and everything can be kumbaya, la-di-da, freaking, bread and circus and a worker's paradise, it isn't working. It's also not working. Somewhere we have to have sustainability. Somewhere we have to balance the population of who gets a standard of living and who doesn't. Like the dreamers, immigration, and basically, what kind of civil rights do we have? Do we start breaking apart society where different groups self-segregate into different areas? And if we allow that, even though I despise the minority culture, political, democratic, socialist, Marxist paradigm, there's a very real fact that, for right now anyway, there's still a lot more white people than other people. I don't know if every minority together is more than all the white people, whatever the fuck that is either, but the fact is, like, every group is not really that much. Although the way they're represented in TV and media and internet, you'd think they were friggin' equal shares of society. There's not that many gay people. There's definitely not that many trans people. There's not that many friggin' immigrants. There's not that many blacks. There's only 12% of the population and 50% of the crime. And it's like violent crime. Oh, well, you can just go watch a friggin' Atheists Unstoppable video and find out about that. But the point is that what would this society look like? Because the problem is, if you start if you allow the majority to self-segregate, won't that cause a situation where whites and all the major resources will just succeed from the general land and take all the wealth and prosperity and social services and better housing and better lands and favorable farmlands, and leave just kind of a malaise of ghetto, impoverished ethnic ghettos and badlands and war-torn, lawless areas to some extent? I mean, worst case scenario. And that's what I wonder. I have no problem with someone saying, hey, this is a white-only community. They say, no, you can't have a white-only community. Why not? I believe people have a right to discriminate, except for when it truly impacts someone's civil liberties as a citizen. If they're a citizen, hey, you're supposed to be here 90 days and go home. You're illegal. You're an alien. Nee. Take your freaking UFO and head back to freaking Uranus, buddy. ¿Cómo está? Kamasa. It's idiotic. And yet, the progressives do have some point. Shit can spiral out of control. Downward friggin' spiral. Really, really quickly. But, and the whole point is these people are going, well, we want our homeland. A service that's like, yeah, why not? China's got theirs. Japan's got theirs. Israel has got theirs, and all our money is going to Israel. And it's like, well, why do we have to be subject to, I don't know, migrants, black violence, poverty, and it goes on from there. When you start dividing the pie, you start realizing why you're dividing the pie. And that's like, well, I don't want this part, and I don't want that part, and you go over there, and you're not creating a ghetto from like a reservation. You're not saying, well, that's got to be a ghetto there, and you can't stay out here, you got to go there. It's like, we're all going to go here, and you can't come here, or here, or here, or here, or there, or there, or there, or go have your gunfights and your Slurpees, bring it somewhere else. You're not welcome in white lands. I mean, really. So, these people are just like him-hawing this bullshit. And I want to know a real thing. Okay, how do you deal with civil liberties? How do you deal with various issues with fair housing, anti-discrimination, fair business practices? How do you? Is it really just bullshit? Is it friggin' 1488 neo-Nazi friggin' bullshit? Just look up 1488. You get it. And it's like, well, wait a minute. How is this not just a fascist? Because I don't suffer a fascist. And the hell with that. I mean, I'm not a complete... I believe in a libertarian equality of opportunity, and sometimes an economic, a lot of times, an economic equality of outcome, because I'm a futurist. That means that I want to live in a resource-rich society, but that has to be sustainable. So, what that means is like, we have to think about not only the social issues, but the economic ones. So, that's why I'm curious about things like this, because I'm looking for a futurist model of how society can change and become different, and taking the lessons we learned from the past and applying them in a different way to the future. So, when people talk about a right for self-determination, okay, fine, great. Let's talk about American identitarianism. Let's talk about anti-immigration. Let's talk about freaking self-determination, the right to discriminate. But let's be real about it. Let's be honest and open and real. And one part of that being real is without automatically just saying, no, this has been done before. Acknowledge that this has been done before. The Nazis, the friggin' the friggin' segregated South, Jim Crow, just, whites only, ethnic ghettos. You have to be open about that. You have to be honest. If you're going to have any kind of real conversation about a real aspect of anything you're saying, unless it's just a friggin' political talking point for a fringe, radical, fascist race ideologues, then yes, you have to acknowledge the facts and the truth, even if it costs you political leverage, political viability, because it's just not viable otherwise. And I think that's the issue with race nationalism, is it's just not viable. I am a big critic of multiculturalism. And I have a few questions about a multi-ethnic society also. But at the same time, we don't need that kind of racial purity spiral either. That's just garbage. Besides, I'm an American. We want a melting pot. And it doesn't have to be exactly European melting pot either. So, the Polish and the Italian and the Dutch and the Portuguese are all fine, but we can have frigging blacks and Hispanic and Asians too. So, not a problem. But we need a balance. And we need a society where we can increase the standard of living. That's what we need. So, yes, I'm asking these hard questions, but I'm not dog whistling it either. I'm ready to talk about the hard issues. And I think more people should. And if it finds out that it's just reiterating garbage, then let's clearly state it one more time. And I'm up for that. But until that, both sides are being friggin' ideologues, and that's just counterproductive to a better future. I'm curious. That's what the hell I ought to say. That's right. Deal with that, people.